All right, all right. Welcome back, guys. Another episode of the Hawk Vision Podcast. I am your host, Chuck Hawkins, here to help you shorten the learning curve on your way to greatness. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe across all your social media platforms, especially here on YouTube. More importantly, share this podcast with other visionaries just like you. Guys, we're doing something big here, working to be the premier location to help you bridge the gap to your personal and professional success. And I can't thank you enough for all the DMs, comments, and messages. Absolutely can't grow the show without you. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode, you know how I feel about coffee, so I'm going to hold my coffee while I do this. This episode is where the game changes. You know, we highlight entrepreneurs and dream chasers that have a proven track record of success. But this one is a little different, guys. This week's visionary teaches people all over about government contracting and building a thriving business in their local cities and beyond. We're talking about how to put together a winning bid, how to position your business so that you get visibility, and so much more. With an online following tens of thousands strong, he's helping change the landscape of the industry that our people typically weren't allowed to play in for years. He is an absolute visionary, the CEO of Global Connects. You know him as GlobalLeader. Hamza Sabree, welcome to the show, sir.
Man, thank you for having me. It's dope. It's an honor to be on a platform to get to speak about, what I do every day as a lifestyle. So it's dope when I can just spread the awareness of government contracting. So once again, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate the time. I think you're the first person to ever make government contracting look fun. Like, you make the thought process of even jumping into business sexy. I'm like, yeah, we gotta have him. We gotta have him on.
Dope. Yeah, man. This is the level of learning. I feel that anything you can do it. And with learning, with government contracting, it wasn't sexy. So I had to create some entertainment for myself to be able to learn it.
Yeah.
So I had to listen to trap music while I'm reading the FAR. While I'm reading the Federal Acquisition Regulation, I'm reading these laws and I'm trying to understand these. So I had to make it feel more, fun at the same time, to where that I can take what's complex and make it simplistic and then go create results with it.
Yeah. So you got to make it personal, but the obvious question, right? Let's get this one out of the way. How did you end up in this line of business that most of us never even think to do business in, especially in the city we live in?
Right. So I was around 24, getting ready to turn 25, and I was at a point in my life to where that I wanted to do something that challenged me. So my personality set up like this. Well, most people say I got an addictive personality, which means that anything that I find interest in, I'm trying to master it like as fast as possible. I will go days without sleep, without eating, until I feel like I have mastered it. Like, that's just natural. Naturally just have that eager to learn, just want to learn more. So I was at a point in my life to where I want to challenge myself. And I wanted to do something that I was always interested in, but didn't know nothing about. And that was construction, demolition.
Okay.
Right. And I didn't know anything about it, but it always interests me seeing how buildings get collapsed and the demo get done. It was like big kids playing with big old toys. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I always was curious about that. So I saw an opportunity where I could work for this small minority-owned construction company here in Atlanta, Georgia. I saw the opportunity where I could apply for a project management position. So I never went to school. Well, I went to high school, but I barely graduated. I graduated with 1.9 GPA.
Listen, you graduated.
But I always have been a person of that, school is not important, but education is. And I don't have to go to school to get an education. Right. So I always self-teach myself whatever I wanted to learn. But this particular case, I wanted to learn construction. I want to learn construction management. I wanted to learn about demolition.
Okay.
So, I created a resume as if I have, already been in this space. So anybody know about a resume, you put some things on your resume to get a job, get an opportunity. And, well, you had to fluff it a little bit.
Embellish a couple times.
Well, we did more like plagiarize. Not embellished.
I love it.
Land the opportunity to go get into an interview and be able to, have that conversation and have that talk as if I knew everything and got the opportunity to work. Just like that.
Yeah.
And now I have to learn how to read blueprints. I got to learn how to do takeoffs. I got to learn how to use a different type of software, Bluebeam software. Also, I had to get my license and certification within asbestos, mold remediation, lead. So I had to go through all this as well. Then the owner was saying that, yeah, by the way, we do 100% of our business with the government.
Wow.
So I said, huh? What you mean? He said, now you're going to need to learn how the federal acquisition regulation work. These are all the laws and clauses mandated with government contracts. So I was just like, okay, wow. First of all, I got to learn construction first.
Right.
That's what I'm saying in my head. Can't blow my cover. I got to learn construction, project management, know how to do this, scheduling, Microsoft, Excel, schedule, all this stuff.
Yeah.
On top of that, I have to learn how to do business with the government.
Right. Legal business with the government.
Right. Learn the FAR. So it was like, that was double the effect. But you know me, the person can give me a challenge like that. It's like, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. So long story short, within 10 months of me working with that company, I generated $1.6 million in government contracting within 10 months of me working with that company, right? From federal, state, local, city contracts. So I've done business with Department of Interior. I've done business with the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration. I've done business with FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency. I've done business with DOD, Department of Defense, U.S. Army, Coastal Guard, right?
Wow.
That's just to name a few. And then also state, city contract opportunities that we got awarded here in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, the owner of the company said, okay, you tweak a little different, okay? So I need you to build out this business development department. So I became director of BDC, to where I train other people my unorthodox ways of actually securing and winning contracts on a consistent basis.
Right.
So I did that for another 4 months. But then it hit me in my head. I said, you know what? You know, I felt like LeBron when he took his talents to Miami. Like, you know, I could take these talents on somewhere else, understanding my value that I'm able to produce and scale up businesses, right?
Absolutely.
Understood my value. So I said, you know what? Let me freelance my services like this for other businesses by winning contracts for them and then getting paid a percentage of the contract value on the back end.
So let me ask you this real quick, because that part right there is important. Most people will never leave the comfort of being $1 million producer for another business to launching and being a freelancer so that they can bet on themselves and get a larger percentage of the work they're already doing. So how did that part click for you?
So to touch bases back on that, yeah. So after me working 3 months with the company, we immediately went back to revision of pay plan, because we need it's some things that's going on now that I'm responsible of, and it's properly compensated, make things suffice so we can keep on proceeding.
Yeah.
So after 90 days, I was getting paid a percentage off of contract value plus salary.
Okay.
But still was like, it's more. I can really create a business out of this because I understand procurement. And I have done it for construction, for janitorial services, for security guards, for executive limousine companies, data analytic companies. So these are the clients that I had to where I made that pivot, or where that let me be the liaison for other businesses, because what business would not want you to be able to increase revenue? Exactly. Or bring in or want another customer? All businesses want more customer, they want more revenue. So here's another customer you don't know about, right?
Right.
That I know about, and I'm gonna show you how to leverage these laws in place to where that it's gonna help your business grow more. And you can pay me on the back end. Any company in their right mind, or any businessman in their right mind, will say, okay, because they have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So that's how I created my clientele, just purely off word of mouth, my results. So once I made results for one company, they went and bragged to me about their friend or someone else, and then that's how they came another customer. So we're a boutique firm to where we have, like, as of right now, out of 8 clients that we did have, 5 re-signed new 2-year contracts that we have that we just work with, just winning contracts on we have, and we get paid contract value. So that was like, what I'm saying is how I got into government contracts, where I made my first $100,000 winning contracts for other people before I even won a contract for myself.
Wow.
So I came in from a way different angle, understood the paperwork process, understood the laws, and understand how to implement any type of business within this space of the world's largest, biggest customer in the world that spends $7 trillion, and 23% of it has to be set aside for small businesses.
Let's go. Let's go. So one of the things that made me take notice, right, is not only and we talked about this, the praise that you get from your clients in the boot camps, but the pandemic story. A little before the pandemic, you registered with the city of Atlanta Tell me about that one.
So a little bit before the pandemic happened, I registered my company Global Connects with the critical supply list here in Georgia.
Okay.
To be on the list to be able to supply these certain type of products in a critical standpoint if Georgia ever comes into one.
Yes.
I never foreseen like, okay, pandemic, let me do this because I'm trying to create more opportunity of doing business.
Yes.
Once you understand the system, how it laid out, here is how you get opportunities where you're not bidding all the time. And I got a saying, we're not bidding, we're doing business.
I love it.
Yeah. So put our name on the list. 3 months later, COVID hits. And now I'm getting emails from all different types of hospitals in Georgia, from DeKalb Medical to Grady to Upson Medical, like requesting, we're looking for these products. You say you can supply these based off the Georgia critical list that you registered in, and we need prices on this, and we need to know when you're going to be able to deliver. I was getting so much emails like that for purchase orders like that. I was turning them down because it was some stuff I just couldn't execute, and I wanted my face card to still be good. I want my company integrity to still be on the up and up. So we just respectfully declined ones that we knew that we can't source out or execute, but you know, we did our fair share of them. We're gonna let that be known.
He said we're gonna put it out there. You know, it's funny because you hear these stories about how in a pandemic, in the worst situations, recessions, there are absolute millionaires that are made. There are fortunes to be made, unfortunately, off of others' peril. But let me ask you, let's go backwards. Like, how does someone get into the space? What are the 3 things they need, if there's 3, to be eligible to do business with the world's largest customer?
Oh yeah. So 1, you need to be in business. I don't care how long you've been in business. 1 day, 30 days, 60 days, 6 months, 6 years.
Okay.
What I mean by being business, you got to have articles of organization, whether it's a limited liability company, aka LLC, S Corp, C Corp, partnership, joint venture, however your business is set up. All right, then you need to have an EIN number, which is your employee identification number, right? Yep. Then also you need a Dun and Bradstreet number, of course.
Yes.
And then last but not least, a business bank account, because when you register on sam.gov to register as a federal contractor, pay attention to my language, to register as a federal contractor, this is the steps. Mm-hmm. When you register with sam.gov, you're going to be inputting your business bank account number and route number. All right. That is how the federal government pays you off from wires. No checks get cut with the federal government. They pay through wire.
Gotcha.
Right. And they always pay through wire with what's the bank account information that's been submitted in SAM, not what's you sending as a blank check or sending in with your invoice. Is what's in that system. So be very important. I'm just for the listeners. It's very important to make sure that that bank account route number matches up with your company.
Gotcha. Yeah. So when somebody registers to be eligible for government contracts, in my head, I'm a son of a military man, so I understand that there's a few exits, but how many exits are off that freeway? Like, are you automatically eligible to do work with the city, the school district, the military? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that question. So once you went through the SAM registration process, all right, it takes about 10 days to get the actual cage code number that only the government can issue you out. Okay. Specific agency, DLA, Defense Logistics Agency, issues out the cage code, but it's through SAM. You fill it out through SAM, and it automatically will email you with your congratulation letter.
Nice.
Now, once you have been cage code, you're a federal contractor, you can do business with any federal government agency. Done. The vetting process is over. It's been done already. Once you got your cage code, it's time to rock and roll.
Wow.
Okay. So that's on a federal level. On a state, city, county level, you do not have to be a federal contractor to have a cage code or be in SAM registration in order to do business in your own city or in your own county or in your own state or any city, any county, state across this map. You just have to register as a vendor.
That's it.
A 2-page process online. Boom, it's done. Now you're eligible to do business with them and go after solicitations, go after actual public bids.
So why aren't more people, in your opinion, why aren't more people in this space, right? Because obviously it's more involved and you make it sound super easy, right? I'm like, as soon as we're done, I'm logging on. But why do you think we're not in it? Why do you think we're not in this space?
Lack of attention to it and lack of us wanting to know more about it. It's got to be exposed to it in order to know about it. in our communities and just people in general don't know about government contract. They think government, they think grants, or they think SBA loans or PPP or unemployment or a stimulus check.
Yeah.
Hell, it was a stimulus going on way before a stimulus check. And I would say this all the time is that understanding from a government standpoint that they have to, which is mandated by law, 23% set aside for small businesses. So they have to stimulate the small businesses in the country.
Wow.
With business opportunity. Because small business was run this world, because what we do as small businesses is we employ others and create more job opportunities. It's an effect that happens. Right. On a federal level, their job is to stimulate the country, which is all the small businesses in this country. And if you have less than 49 employees or generating under $25 million a year, then you are considered small business. That's small business under the federal government. Hell, gotcha. That ain't small business to me.
Right. Because I'm like 25 mil. I'm right. Gonna be walking around here like I'm 6'3".
Under 25 mil, less than 49 employees, you consider small business.
Right.
Now, 23% of these federal funds that the government spend every year must be allocated. They said the minimum. They never said what the maximum is. So the maximum actually could be the whole budget. Yeah. But they said the minimum is 23% has to be met in order to keep our economy stimulated. So it's already a stimulus check going on from business to G. B to G is what I call it, business to government. It was already a stimulating party going on. It's been that.
Wow.
Before a $1,400 stimulus check, I've been getting $1,400 purchase order from my own city, my own county.
Right.
Doing business though.
So that makes me ask, and I don't want to cut you off, but you already know, like I'm so hyped about this conversation. So you get the contracts, you're ready to do business with the city, with the state. Where do you make the money though? Because like, can you buy TVs wholesale? Let's say the school district wants a TV for the lobby, right?
Right. So the thing about it is creating your niche, creating
Gotcha.
your lane.
Okay.
That's key. So what I mean by that is if you want to sell back electronics, what I did, I became an authorized reseller for major brands like Livono, Samsung, OtterBox, these cases for your phones. OtterBox, yes. I'm an authorized reseller for them because I know that Department of Defense, the Army, they buy these for their products all the time.
Right, right.
This is like one of the major products that's for military is OtterBox. So now let me become an authorized reseller for them. Now I am labeled as small minority owned business that's an authorized reseller for a major brand that y'all purchase all the time. Hello, come do business with me.
Listen.
Let's do it. So it's about finding a niche so you can get rich.
Right. Wow. So let me ask you this. If you have your boot camp going, when you literally take people from concept to launch, like walk me through what they can expect from a boot camp experience with Global Leaders.
From beginning to end. Is really from beginning to end. We go deep down into the rabbit hole. Once you leave out of that boot camp, you're going to be well equipped with knowing exactly how to do business and make the government your customer. You're going to understand it from a standpoint of competency to where that when you start speaking to government agencies and departments, you're gonna sound like a vet. You're gonna be like, you've been doing this. You true to this. Yeah. You're official like a referee with a whistle. Like that's exactly how you're gonna leave the boot camp. And it goes from beginning to end. What the process looks from starting to finish of a government contract, and from starting your business to excelling your business within government contracting. And then also we do back end support to where that we create you an award-winning capability statement, which is your way of marketing your services to your business. Okay. To the government. It's through a capability statement. And then we also do bid assistance to where we're going to assist you on your first bid, proposal, quote, whatever it may be.
Wow.
You need that. That's what you need. In this space, you can't just learn it all in one day. It must be done in 5 days.
I love it. I think that's important because a lot of people right now, like we live in this space right now where everybody has a package, a plan, a thing to sell, digital product to sell, but the support after the product, right, is where a lot of people fail. Is you get people excited about launching their business and then there's no support once they launch. Right. And I think it's really, one, it's important that you have that part there, but two, it's commendable, man, because like I said, we don't do this, right? And so for you to be able to know that part and be aware of it is why you're one of the leaders in the space.
Man, yes, I'm just here to serve and grow, make the best out of my 24. So it's more than just the back end support. Like this is a live virtual session boot camp. It's me teaching, not anything recorded, because I feel like students got to ask the questions so you get clear understanding. My goal as as a teacher and educator in this space is to make sure everyone understands and comprehend before we can move on, because this is a team effort. Only 10 students at a time right now that I take. And you have to qualify. You have to qualify. Yeah. So it's very intimate, small, you know, to where that I know each individual in your business, what you have going on, because I have so many things going on in my head that can probably connect the dots.
Right. That's a great model to have a small class so you make sure everybody gets the attention that they need.
Correct.
So tell me this. Obviously, you're having massive success right now. But what was the part where you were like, you know what, man, screw this. I'm going back to real estate. I'm doing stocks. I'm going back to sales.
Yeah, when I lost my shirt and bat on a government contract.
Do tell.
I lost money. So the reason why I lost money on this particular contract, I remember like night and day, because I like you to ask that question, because I like to speak on more of the failures, the trials and tribulations, because I was in this space at 24. I'm 32. I'm 33, March 1st, 1988. I'm 33 now.
Nice.
Right. So I had a journey in this space of up, downs, failures, trials of tribulations and things of that nature in this space. So it was at one point in time where this is one of the many contracts I lost money on that I'm telling you about.
So it wasn't all sweet from the gate.
No. Even though it created success for other businesses, but when I tried to find my lane, it didn't work. But my first contract that I ever won for myself was in 2016 for Clayton County Public School Systems here in Atlanta. 4-year contract, 1-year base, 3-year optional, depending on how I perform.
Okay.
Of course, I performed well, so I got awarded all 4 years. It just ended last year. It was just janitorial supplies to their public school systems.
Gotcha.
Now, this particular one that I'm talking about where I failed, and that was after that, was I was awarded a contract, and this is what I always teach my students, to read everything from beginning to end of the solicitation, especially on paperwork.
Okay.
Because the government gonna tell you what they want, what they don't want, when they want it, how they want it. Who does not want a customer that tell you exactly how to sell to them?
Exactly.
You know? So this particular contract was for like about 1,000 cases of trash bags, you know? And I was awarded it. And what I didn't understand was that I'm thinking that this is all one-time buy. You buying it from me one time, these 1,000 boxes order.
Yes.
So that's how I'm getting my pricing or my quotes from my vendor suppliers as a one-time buy. So you're going to get it at this certain price here. But right under the specifications of what they wanted, they said that we're going to be purchases over a 12-month period.
Got you. Okay.
So it changes the dynamics of the pricing now, because I'm not buying it all at one time or selling to you all at one time, and my vendor supplier give it to me at this. So I'm locked in at this price.
Right.
My price is way more higher now because it's not a one-time buy, it's over 12 months. So
exactly.
I had to be able to absorb that, and I didn't have the actual liquidity cash to actually just buy it all in bulk from that actual supplier so that I can hold it.
Okay.
And then just sell it to them when they needed it, so I can still be at that price point. So what I did, instead of losing, that much money, I lost 50% of what would have been about 12,000. I lost about 6,000 because what I did was I secured half at a certain price in bulk, and then was able to supply that, and then the other part later.
Wow.
From when they kept purchasing for that whole 12-month period. So that is what I learned from not reading it thoroughly through and rushing through it.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking I know everything, I got it down bag and all that. You make little small mistakes like that, it costs you money.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It costs you more money in your profit margins, right? I lost contracts that I broke even. I mean, I won contracts that I even broke even on. Like I didn't even make money because my calculation was wrong.
Okay.
Right? Or some other things came up in the project to where that I had to absorb some things that made it even. So It hasn't always been like a upward ladder. Had to go through some bumps and lumps and stuff like that to really come up with a system, a process, a blueprint, and really understand the law. Say, hold on, let me focus on this lane right here because this is working. And these margins are great right here.
So one of the things that I love is that you tell your clients and your customers and your students to be ready to do business, not that their certifications are their business.
Right.
Right. So break that down for me.
Yeah, your certifications is not your business, which means that you don't need a certification to do business with the government. As of today, Global Connects is just small business. with the government. We have no certification. Not saying I don't promote them or I go against them. Is that it's a tool. And if you don't know how to use the tool, what's the point of having it? And one thing you need not to do is lead your business in with certifications. All right. For example, hey, I have a disabled veteran owned business.
Right.
So what is that? Now, do you own disabled veterans? I don't understand. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or I have a women-owned business. What does it mean you own women? I don't understand that. Like, lead your business in first, then throw in the icing on the cake.
Right. Because there's typically additional funding for
additional set aside opportunities. So it's like, hey, my name is Hamza. I'm the CEO of Global Connects. All right, we offer janitorial supplies and services and industrial supplies, electronics and furniture. Oh, by the way, we are small minority-owned business. By the way, we are disadvantaged business enterprise. Like, that is the icing on the cake to seal the deal for more opportunities because of these social economical classifications.
Nice.
For the certifications. And now you're working those tools that are set aside for those type of businesses, but you don't just get a government contract because you say I'm a veteran. No, what kind of business do you have? Like, what is your business? How can someone buy from you if they don't know what kind of business you have? Is
it hard to get people to see it that way when you have them in class?
No, not when I get to start talking.
He said, not for me.
It's a lot of unlearning and relearning though, or looking at it from a new perspective.
Yes.
And once you understand my perspective, because you hear my language, I always reference the government to the customer.
Okay.
And I represent the contractor as competent, right? Skills, leadership, integrity, smart work. Like, that's what the contractor is. Nice. And the government is just a customer because you're the expert. That's why they put it out for solicitation, because they got to do business with you, but they're trying to buy it from someone that's competent.
Right.
We just a customer. We don't know. We think we know what we wanted. Like, prime example, I sold some dog food.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
The military, U.S. Army.
Okay.
80,000 pounds of this Hill Science Diet Farm. I believe it was like beef flavor type of dog food.
Right.
80,000 pounds worth. And they want it all in 45-pound bags. I did my research on it and I understood that this dog food don't even come in 45-pound bags. They come in 35-pound bags, and it ain't no beef flavor. It's chicken flavor. So what do y'all talk about? And I emailed it. Not what you talk about literally, but email, based off of my, this is what we do, competency level.
Absolutely.
We in dog food business, just let you know that these specifications don't match what's realization out here in this world.
Yeah.
Based off of that, they awarded me the contract.
I love it.
Because I'm competent. I know what I'm talking about. All I did was make sure it added all up to 80,000, no matter how many 35 pounds we get, as long as it added up collectively as 80,000 pounds, which y'all wanted, and y'all gonna get this chicken flavor.
Absolutely.
What I mean by you have to be the expert, you're the business owner, so you're dealing with the customer. Sometimes you got to educate the customer.
Right.
Sometimes you got to explain to your customer, guess what? Your customer has to spend the money. And they have to spend money with small business. And they have to do it in a time frame of October to October in order to get a new budget or a new increased budget for the next fiscal year.
Okay.
So if I get $1 million from the government, I got to spend 23% of that, which is $230,000 with small business, right?
Yeah.
So out of that $230,000 budget that I have, and I only spend $100,000, I won't get $230,000 the next year. I would get less than that because I didn't spend the money.
Gotcha. So that was going to be my question, because in the private sector, when they don't have,
in the private sector, it's buy one, get one free. It's 50% off. It's the holiday sale, Cyber Monday, Black Friday, Thanksgiving, Christmas. And you got all these different holidays. In the government, we don't worry about that. In the private, in the public sector, we don't worry about that. We get premium. So this is for anyone that think there ain't no money in government contract and think profit margin 5%, 10%. No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm sorry. I'm here to say, and my students here to tell you that the margins are the upper room.
He said the upper room.
Okay, that's what the margin's doing over here. When you're doing business with someone that has to spend money with you.
Yeah.
They have to stimulate the small businesses in this economy. So when you break it down on the state, city, local level, your county has to stimulate the small businesses that reside in that local municipality. But they can't do business with you if they don't know you exist in your city.
That's right.
Because Because all you have to do is register and then show up and let them know who you are and what you're about. They have to make time for you. They have to respond with you because the contracting officers or purchasing agents in your city, in your county, their job is to engage with the small businesses that are operating in the local municipality.
So why did you mentioned earlier that if they don't spend all that money, they get a smaller budget? Why is that?
Because you're not spending none.
So you must not need it.
Why would I give you $1 million to spend and you only spend $500,000? Why would I give you $1 million again the next year?
Got you. That makes sense.
Now, if you max out that $1 million, I might give you 1.5 next year. Because you ran out less than a year.
Yeah.
Follow me?
Absolutely. So they're incentivized to spend that money.
Here's a hat.
Let's go.
All right. When you get closer to the end of the fiscal year, you're supposed to go higher in your profit margins, because they have to spend the money. So any seasoned veteran contracting company or government contractors, they know that in the end of the fiscal year, close to the end of fiscal year, we're going up a 10%, 15% more in our profit margins because we're trying to absorb that money for them.
Wow.
So that's what I mean by it. It's lucrative. Okay?
There's money to be made in the upper room.
Yes. And you can scale up. There's so many different contracting vehicles, or that's metaphorically saying, here, use this actual car right here that you can take you to success.
Yeah.
Contracting vehicle meaning your social economic classification.
Right.
Like women-owned business, disadvantaged business enterprise, disabled veteran-owned business, hub zone business, AA certified company. Like these are all contracting vehicles you can use to take you to the upper room that you can use.
Man, listen, you told me you was going to over-deliver.
That's icing on the cake. Outside of that, the law simply just says small business. So just operating as small business, yes, you still can take advantage of contracting vehicles too, such as the simplified acquisition procedure. Listen, that allows a government contracting officer agency to give you a no-bid contract up to $750,000 domestically and $1.5 million internationally if your company is competent, has the capacity to perform that service or product. They can just, you understand the simplified acquisition procedure. What they're saying is this is a simple buying process for us. As a contract officer, I'm first of all, I'm overworked and underpaid.
Absolutely.
Okay? 9 to 5. I'm handling all these type of contracts, buying all this type of stuff, right? So are you telling me that the simplified acquisition procedure allows me to just reach out to a company and get their price and do business with them if it's under a certain threshold, instead of doing all this paperwork, put stuff out for bid, do the tabulation report, evaluation, contract execution, and contract compliance, and all these other things?
Yes.
I can save that by just reaching out to Global Connect and say, you know what, how much you going to charge a square foot to clean up this building? Follow me? Yeah. That's what the simplified acquisition procedure allows. But you gotta know the law, but then you gotta know how to implement it. You know how to create results within it. Because even your contracting officers, some of them don't even know about this. Sometimes you gotta even educate them because they was learned from a module of this is what you don't do and this is what you do. I'm learning from the law level, and it's saying that this ain't illegal.
So we could skirt on these.
We got to rock with what the legal law says.
Yes.
Right, not what you was trained not to do and what to do, because you think it's gray hair, but it's not illegal. It clearly says it's permissible.
Right. So 10 years in, do you think that it's gotten, well, obviously with experience it gets easier, but 10 years in, has it gotten more convoluted in terms of where you can do business, how you can do business, or has it opened up because now you got the internet, now you got all these different little verticals that you can play in?
Honestly, man, it's a big budget with a small competitive marketplace.
Wow.
You got to think about it right now. As active reportedly is 180,000 businesses that are actively registered within SAM, 180,000 businesses. So out of 180,000 businesses, let's just say 10,000 in construction or 5,000 in engineering, and you just break it all the way down, the numbers are going to get smaller. But you got this customer that's spending over $7 trillion a year.
They don't have enough places to put the money.
Out of that 180,000 companies that are active, it's only 160 that are active in the system. like can do business. You may be in the
Right.
system, have a cage code, but you may not update it or renew. It's not active. You got 160,000 that's active. Then out of those 160,000 that's active, maybe 90,000 is actually going after government contracting opportunities. Okay, fun facts and data. Now,
Let's go.
Because I don't want to just sound like I'm just shooting from the hip and things of that nature. Because I do a lot of research within this space. So for federal government contracts, okay, for federal government contracts,
yes,
98% of what the government buys, what the federal government buys, will not hit beta.sam.gov. That is the official site, only site to go after federal government contract opportunity. 98% will not.
Never hit the site.
Will not even hit the site for you to even bid on it. So it let you know it's more than just bidding. It's doing business.
Right.
76% of contracts are competed between 5 or fewer companies. I know, I see them. It's the same company, 2 or 3 companies that I'm competing with every time when I get the tabulation report. So I know that for a fact, 76% of contracts are competed between 5 or fewer companies. Now, this one's going to bug your mind. 37% of awards have only one response. I have one government contract, not because I was the lowest price. It was because I was the only price.
The only man in the room.
Thank you. Hello. It's time to go. Collect the check. Let's keep moving.
Wow.
Collect 200. Keep going. You feel me?
He said he's playing government Monopoly in real life.
So 93% of government contracts go to companies that are proactively marketing their business. Let me say that again. 93% of government contracts go to companies that are proactively marketing. It's still like the private sector, but you're marketing to someone that has to do business with you.
Wow.
This is what I get you to comprehend and understand. So I'm showing you the alley-oop.
Right.
Through the laws, not through a sales gimmick, not through a marketing strategy, not through running ads. I'm showing you the laws. That's an alley-oop for your business. Now you decide how you want to dunk it. You want to rock the baby with it, 360 windmill. It's however you want to do it. But the alley-oop is there.
Oh man, your energy is amazing. I love it. So, matter of fact, speaking of which, I saw you had the OG Alex Good Energy not too long ago on your live.
Oh yes, sir.
Man, listen, that boy is changing games too. But that made me wonder with the trucking and the reported shortage of drivers, right? Does that mess up the pipeline, the supply line for an industry like yours, where you're doing business with the government? If there's no truckers, there's no drivers. Like it to me in my head, when I saw y'all on the live together, I was like, oh, they just took over the world. They just took over Atlanta.
Yeah. We're definitely working on some things too.
So how does that work though? What's the supply line like for government contracting?
All right, so if you're talking about the customer that has the money to print, they have to do business to circulate it. If anything, if transportation was to shut down in the private private sector, it's going to be booming in the public sector, even at a higher rate, because it's a strong necessity now.
Yeah.
Because of shortages. One thing about it, the government has to get their things done. They have to keep the ship got to keep moving. So if the ship stop moving for the government, it stop moving for everyone here that's living here.
Wow.
So the necessity is going to come from them first, and they have the money, and they're going to have the budget, and they're going to have to keep pushing to get it done.
Recession proof.
It's recession proof, most definitely.
Wow.
In a recession, the government spends more.
Right, because they got
in a pandemic, the government spend more. I'm saying this because I experienced one of the best years of my life in government contract was 2020 from just doing business with the government. That was one of my best years.
Wow.
And I wasn't even trying that hard.
Does the business change based on who's in office, Republican, Democrat? Does it change?
When you get up there with the bigger big boys.
So like military contracting.
No, we're talking about $100 million, $600 million, $800 million contracts. So those get a little bit more, political in that because, of lobbyists, of course, of, lining up the right pockets and relationships to be able to get those type of establishments. Because, you got to understand Boeing, which is one in the top 50 government contracting firms. They in the top 10, excuse me.
Yeah.
All right. Matter of fact, they're in the top 5, excuse me again. and contracting, but they're the only company that's contracted to make the planes for the government. So where's their competition at?
And that's why you always hear about Boeing stock price when they have plane issues.
Most of their contracts are sole source, fixed firm contract, IDIQ contracts for $600, $700, $800 million. At any given day, I was just going over numbers yesterday. What was just awarded in the Department of Defense.
Right.
Just for the Department of Defense, what was awarded that day, and it was over $2 billion just that day for just Department of Defense. That's just one agency out of so many agencies with the federal government in one day. So statistics say every 7 minutes a federal government contract is being awarded.
Every 7 minutes.
Yeah.
So that makes me ask the question, right? One, I feel like I'm wasting your time on this podcast because you could be making some money with the every 7 minutes. But let me ask you, if anybody that watches the news, you hear about this nationwide chip shortage, right? So let's say I'm a government contractor. My specialization is in procuring chips for the government to work on these, different projects and IT or security, cyber, all that good stuff. This is a good time for me right now.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Let's do it.
I'm so glad you came on this show because I think people, like you said in the beginning, this is a lack of knowledge. There's no spotlight on government contracting.
There's none. There's no media attention on it, and people that are in this space killing it. They're not on social media. So I'm telling you, I'm not a heavy hitter. Respectfully, I'm saying it. I'm still a student in here, and I have levels that I want to aspire to keep growing to. But the real heavy hitters, they're not on social media, and you can't find them. They're not exposing it. They keep the information. If you don't know, you don't know.
Right.
It's like pulling teeth. Trying to seriously, nobody's not going to tell you because they think of it as competition. I don't think it's competition. Yeah. I think it's more enough for all of us.
Absolutely. Especially if you break it down to just plain city municipalities.
Right.
Because you still got school district, you got
it's so much government agencies, you can't do business with them all. So why hold the information? It's public information though, but we don't go to it. We don't know how to navigate to it.
How long did it take you to find your niche?
I'm here to build the bridge.
Yeah.
I'm here to build a bridge or build a bridge to the gap of small businesses and government contract. So that's where Global Connects come in at. We're here to connect you. That's it. Global.
Amazing. How long did it take you to find your niche and to know that not only were you confident in doing business, but now that you were able to teach others how to do the same thing?
How long did it take me to do that?
Yeah.
And I was doing that before I launched on social media. All I did was talk government contract to my friends and peers and run them away from me. They didn't want to hear what I was talking about. Man, here he goes talking that government contract mess again. But I've always been willing to share it. Like, this was going on. This is what I'm doing. Especially when you signing, off bids for $1.2 million, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 at a time. You seeing these wires going through and checks going through. So it's like, no, this is real.
Yeah.
Talk about. We all need to be on this.
Absolutely.
We need to work collectively, matter of fact. Because it's more than enough.
Yeah. So let me ask you that. In terms of setting up the company, once you're registered with the various sites and the various entities, are you able to instantly compete on a national scale, or do you have to start with the city that you're in?
You can start anywhere in the world. You can start now as long as you got a computer. I'm gonna tell you another hack. Hamza Sabree, CEO of Global Connects. We don't have a warehouse. We don't have supplies, materials, or equipment on hand at all.
Right.
We work based off the white piece of paper, the contract, and we turn it into green piece of paper. Okay, we outsource 100% of everything. It gets done right where I'm sitting at.
I love it. How does it feel to
I'm not playing.
He said, I'm serious about this. How does it feel to be seen as a visionary for the culture, man? What does that word mean for you?
Wow. Dang, that's strong right there. I never saw myself as that. It was just more focused on impact over revenue, spread the awareness of government contracting, really have results. Like one of my top students got awarded today. All right, $600,000 1-year contract in Gwinnett County here in Atlanta.
Wow.
Here in Georgia. Today.
How does it feel?
That's what it's about. My goal is to empower the people through government contracting. That's it. Just to spread awareness of it. So when these titles and put me in these boxes somewhere, it's like I humbly decline because I'm just here to serve and grow. and make the best out of my 24. That's it. So the thing about it was that my goal was when I lost social media to make me feel like I was a good teacher, because that's new to the business. My business been contracting with the government. That's it.
Right.
When I came to social media to create awareness of government contracting, it was such a big response back. People said, okay, coaching, do you have classes? Do you have webinars? And I was like, no, but dang, I got to do it now since people are asking for it.
A new responsibility for the leadership.
Before I launched, I did 401 free 1 hour free consultations to 400 people. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and there was some success stories out of those too. We're gonna get into that too as well.
Absolutely. So let me ask you.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, you finish.
No, go ahead.
Well, I have so many questions because obviously anybody listening to this podcast is going to say, all right, Hamza got me ready. Like, I'm hyped up. I'm feeling 10 feet tall, bulletproof. I'm ready to do this thing. How much money do you think people should have to launch their business? What's required financially to launch a government contracting business?
I'm not an accountant, right?
Fair. Very fair.
And everyone has their own way of starting off their business. All right. So, for example, Mark Zuckerberg, right? Jeff Bezos, right? Bill Gates, they were trapping it out of the garage, right?
Absolutely.
Right? How Hamza won his first government contract with no money, with zero.
Yes.
And I leveraged the white piece of paper to turn it into green piece of paper. So what I'm saying is that my students that have won are new to this space. They are not in business. They just started their business. It's taken from scratch, and then we make a whole batch. That's how we do it over here. So
let's go.
So you can have the limited amount of resources. And I'm saying that's the reason why I say we don't have a warehouse.
Right.
We'll have supplies on hand and materials on hand. All right. We are a home-based business. I'm showing you in life to break all the myths and misunderstanding of doing business with the government.
Yeah.
And we're doing business on a high level from the house, respectfully.
From the house.
Humbly too. Yes. So you don't need as much resources to get started, because normally all this stuff is going to come together when you just get started. And the reason why I say that is that, let me break this stuff down to you so it don't sound cliche or I'm usually trying to talk over your head.
Sure.
Right? Or talk around about it. Let me tell you how the government is set up. You have the government that deploys this money out to small businesses, right?
Right.
They have to spend this money in this time frame of 12 months, October to October, right? They have to spend money with you.
Yes.
Then what they have after that, they have the support on the back end too, through SBA, Small Business Association, yes. SBA.gov. All right. You have a SBDC in every city and every state across this map. SBDC stands for Small Business Development Centers. These small business development centers will give you a list of banks, invoice factoring, and funding companies that will finance your project if it's a government contract, federal, state, or local. So you trying to tell me the government is going to spend money with me, then give me the resources to get the money so I can go ahead and supply it back to them so I can get paid.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are listening on Spotify, I humbly advise you to go to YouTube so you can see the face he just made. He's like, I can't make this no more easier for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's learning these things and learning how to use the tools and working them in your favor. Every government contractor get assigned a PTAC advisor through these SBDC centers, Small Business Development Centers. PTAC, PTAC, Procurement Technical Assistance Center. You get your own advisor. They're supposed to help you crack the code to win the government contract. You use them as an employee. You say, hey man, find out where they spend the most money on paper towels at.
Wow.
Let me get a list of all the contracting officers in this region, because I'm going to send out my capability statements to them.
Right.
Like, I train my students to put them to work. Put the assistants to work, not the assistants put you to work or put you off.
Amazing. Man, listen, we had to have you on. We getting close to wrapping up. Like I said, listen, we may have to take this to the live, because like I said, I want to respect your time, but there's so many gems to uncover here. Talk to me a little bit more about the boot camp, right? 10 people at a time.
Right. 10 people at a time. It's the last the last week of every month. We do it once a month. As next month coming up, we're increasing it to 20 students.
Okay.
Because we're able to support now 20 students officially, effectively, right? And it's day one. We go through the basics and break everything down to the beginning and understanding the intro. Then day two, we go into like project bid analysis, solicitation analysis, knowing how to put in your closeout document, know all the pre-submittal documents that you need, knowing like how to get the contract, then what you do after you get the contract so you can stay in compliance, right?
Yeah.
Also knowing how to calculate your budget, knowing how to add the costs up properly based off what you read, because you're really assessing a deal that you're deciding whether or not you want to go for it or not, because there's no pressure. The government not saying you got to submit in a quote.
Right.
That's why I say you're doing business, not bidding, because the bidding is more like this is a bidding process. Most people think bid is like I got the cell phone right here, start off at 500, 500, I got 600, I got 700, I got 700, I got 800. That's a bid war.
Right. Right.
If you look at the word bid is just to mean to submit in a price or quote. That's it. So people don't understand that terminology here. A bid, they think it's competitive. You got to be cheap to win. No, bid is just submitting a price or quote. You're doing business. I did a deal assessment. The government said they wanted 10,000 cases of tissue, Hamza. I was like, okay, let me look at it. And I look at the specifications and I see it and everything like that. And then I decide whether or not, if I want to be able to supply this to them. And if I do want to go for it, I'm going to supply it to you all at this cost. When I do that, we already in pre-contract agreement, technically, because when I sign it with Blue Ink, because that's the professionalism of government contract, is always with Blue Ink. When I sign that contract with Blue Ink or my bid, that's a contract stating that, hey, I'm going to sell you this 10,000 cases of tissue at this price, and it's good for these amount of days. That's a contract already. Your customer can decide whether or not, okay, we want to take those terms. Right. We'll take that price, and they have 30 days to decide whether or not if they want to. And then when they decide it, now you're in the actual contract agreement. Now it's time to execute the contract. So you're really not bidding at all. You're just doing business. That's all you're doing, because it's a deal assessment you have to make.
Right.
And then you have to quote your price or your services, your price for your product or your services, and you're already locking in. So it's like a month from now, you still have to service them if they say, hey, we want to buy from you, because that's the contractual agreement that you already signed to. And if you don't, you backing out.
Now they coming to get their money.
Exactly. Not come get their money. It's more than now contract termination or possibly debarment, which is like the death penalty.
Right.
Because you would never be able to do business with the government again on the federal level. If you get debarred by the federal government, that's the worst thing to ever have.
So that leads me to my very last question. Where does liability kick in, back to where we talked about with the trucking, the delivery of the end product?
Right. All excusable delays, which is it states that within the Federal Acquisition Regulation about excusable delays, what can be excusable because of a pandemic, state of emergency, recession, or any type of thing that's happening inside our country, right? Or COVID-19. I use COVID-19 for delayed deliveries, all 2020.
Yeah.
Due to COVID-19, instead of 30 days, it's going to be 120 days because all this stuff is back ordered. All these stuff, it hasn't made it because we had a lot of logistic issues and tariff rates went up and things of that nature.
Yep. Wow. So what's next for Global Connects?
What's next for Global Connects right now? We're working on our AA certification. All right. Or our AA certification, long story short, we're going to have the license to print money. But the AA program allows a small business, once you get in that program, to receive no bid contracts up to $7.5 million for services and $5.5 million for goods, products, and commodities at one time. And it's for us. It's for socially, economically disadvantaged individuals. That's a fancy way of saying you Black folks or minorities or any other ethnicities and stuff of that nature.
This whole thing, so while we've been talking, I've been having this movie play in my head. I can't remember the name of it. War Dogs, yes, where they were selling ammunition.
I'm the black dog.
You're the black. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to understand what we were talking about, go watch War Dogs. And then I want you to expand your vision, man, because Hamza, what you're doing, man, is legendary. And I know that you don't like to take these titles, and I understand the humility. But man, this is the most needed area of entrepreneurship that I think we need in our community.
because it's nothing like securing a contract for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and that's money on the books for that period.
Right.
You know, as a businessman, you want those type of annual type of contracts and not just those one-time business transactions. You want them repetitively, monthly, annually, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. And that's what you can do with government contracting. And it's not as hard as it may seem or may be portrayed to be, because I pretty much break the myths and misunderstanding of this space. That's exactly what we do in the boot camp. I break all the misunderstanding of government contracting. You really feel confident, and you're going to know exactly how to even teach your family or pass it on. Each one teach one, pass that information on. Man, I have a 19-year-old that's crushing the game from his mom's basement.
Wow.
But he was just on my live. Austin Hill just secured a big 5-figure contract for the city of Austin, Texas. He lives in Detroit, Michigan, in the basement.
Because nobody else submitted.
This is his 4th contract. 2 of them were no bid contracts.
Because he was the only man in the room.
It's all about listening, comprehending, and apply. Because the information I give you, I guarantee you're going to win a government contract. I don't know when, but I guarantee you, if you apply the information that we teach, you're gonna do business with the government. When? I don't know. What time? I don't know. I'm not Miss Cleo.
Is she still around?
She passed away, I heard.
She passed away. She should have been doing business with the government, man.
Yeah.
She should have been doing
pandemic, possibly.
Oh my God. Where can everybody find you online, man?
Oh, you can follow me on GlobalLeader _ on Instagram. Also, I'm on Facebook, Global Connects. And you can go to the Twitter, Global Connects. You get a lot of free game on Twitter too, because I'm always tweeting.
Oh man, that's my favorite platform.
Yeah, Global Connects _
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've been rocking with the great one, Hamza Sabree, and yours truly, Chuck Hawkins, here at the Hawk Vision Podcast. I hope this interview was informative. I hope we added a smile to your day. But most importantly, we hope we help you shorten the learning curve on your journey to success. There is money in the upper room, y'all. Like, share, subscribe across all of your platforms. Send in your messages. Send in your guest suggestions. I cannot continue to grow the show without you guys, my visionaries, and I am so appreciative of your time today. You know how it goes. You could be doing anything in the world, man, but you're here to rock with us. There's absolutely no miracle that can happen without somebody doing something. Hamza, you're changing the game, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Guys, we'll either see you at the top or from the top. The choice is yours.
Yes.